Is it possible that the two crazy guys can deliver a serious episode? While we discuss sad stories of an Australian tragically shot by an American policeman and a young girl who suffered a heart attack, Stacy demonstrates how to set up a cryptocurrency hardware wallet and tells how Vodafone acknowledges that backdoors were discovered in router products for Europe that they sourced from a certain Chinese tech company and how reluctant they were to fix them. But don't worry, we still managed to have a laugh somewhere along the line because we're still the two crazy guys in this crazy old world.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Two Crazy Guys in One Crazy World podcast, where your hosts will entertain you with stories and news from around the living room and possibly other places too. So without further ado, your hosts, Stacy and Chris. Bring it on, guys.
Are you recording?
I am recording. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Two Crazy Guys, One Crazy World, episode number 12. We're hitting a dozen. This is not a baker's dozen. This is a real dozen. We're not going to give you the 13th for free because you already get this for free, except for our wonderful Patreon subscribers who not only get this part for free, but they get all their bonus content. So if you want some bonus content, log into Patreon. We'll give you the link later. It'll be in the show notes, and sign up as a subscriber. But a dozen, Stacey. We've hit it. We've hit a dozen today.
That's insane. Can't believe it's happened.
No, not could I. I mean, can you imagine me having to put up with you for a dozen of these and you having to put up with me for a dozen of these? Right? I mean, half of that is easy to understand, but really, I have to suffer like that.
I'm amazed. I am amazed.
I'm totally amazed. Always amazed and always amazing. How are you, buddy?
Good, mate. Yeah, good. No, just getting back into the swing of things after the Easter break and getting stuff organised. As long as I can spin it out for.
I guess it goes for me as well. I mean, yesterday, we didn't do a podcast yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't record one because both Stacey and I had some other very important things that we needed to do. Things that generate a little known thing called income. So we actually did that. But it's not the love of our life. This is the love of our life, apart from our wives, of course. So if you want to help us, help us. We need your help to enable to continue to do this. So how about you guys, log into Patreon. There's two. That's twice for Patreon already.
That's right. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Look, it's and the what you probably don't see in these freebies that we give out is the added content that will be that's going into the Patreon subscribers.
Yeah.
And in particular, there's going to be some extra in-depth research topics and things that will be going into there. That I forgot to tell you about that. Yeah. Yeah, so look, there's a lot of time and effort that goes into some of this research, so that will obviously be held specially just for our paying subscribers. Yes,
absolutely, and honestly, it will be bonus stuff that you don't want to miss out on. So once more, and for the third time, get into Patreon. Hey, listen, I want to start today a little bit different, not straight into the crypto update. I want to cover off on a couple of news items that I think are newsworthy that, ladies and gentlemen, you may or may not have seen. And if you've seen them, then just tone out for a second and listen to the dulcet tones of our voices coming through to you. And If you haven't seen them, then, hey, now is time that you actually should. There's a couple of things in the news in the last 24 hours that I think are a little bit out there. The first one, Justine Darmond, the unlucky Australian life coach who was shot down in, I think it was Minneapolis in America, that by the police officer. The trial is finally over and they found him guilty of third-degree murder. The guy's defence was that there was a loud bang on the car and he felt threatened for his life. And that apparently was enough reason for him, a trained police officer, to pull out his revolver, aim at a woman walking up to them in pyjamas and shoot across his partner through the window of the car. Thank you, American justice system. I know no justice system always gets it right, but thank you for getting this one right and sending that bastard away. Hopefully you'll give him 25 years, which is the maximum that he can get. That's the first one. I just wanted to say, bravo, Zuli. I'm really glad for her family that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, that whole thing, and you were just going through it before, and to be honest, it was a news item that I'd somehow managed to miss, but just going through it before, what I just cannot understand how a trained police officer could feel threatened by a woman who's just called 911 in her pajamas coming towards a car.
It's crazy.
None of that makes sense to me.
Yeah. And one of the things I think that ended up sending him to prison, he refused point blank to talk to any investigators or take part in the investigation into the shooting. And the first time he spoke about it was at his trial. So for 18 months, he refused point blank to talk to anyone except his lawyers. So, sorry, you knew damn well what you're doing. So good luck and enjoy the next 25 years looking out between those slots. Now,
we don't need people like that in our society.
Absolutely. Here's another one that may raise a little bit of controversy. The new sleaze scandal for One Nation. Right? Pauline Hanson was on Current Affair last night and they were asking her about the latest things because obviously her chief of staff has been caught out with film of him in a strip club in America on that same trip that they were over there trying to get the NRA to give them money.
Yeah.
Now, while I don't agree with the NRA part, my question to you, Mr. Bosel, is why is that a scandal?
About the guy going to the strip joint,
club trying to get money. He was over there, granted, doing.
Well, he's married, isn't he?
NRA, but he's in his own time in a strip club.
But he's married.
I don't know. Is he married?
I thought he's married and also spouse goes on about family values. I thought that was the big. It just seems a real contradiction to the values that he's been espousing. Because he's a Sunshine Coast member, isn't he? He's been in the game long enough, and is experienced enough that. Look, again, I don't know. You got to wonder, do these people just not think, or they think they're infallible or something? It's like you're a public member, and today's age where everyone carries around phones and cameras, why would you think you could do something like that and get away with it? First of all, but B, it to me just highlights again the double standards and the lack of ethics that is in our political system, right? If you're saying, I'm not saying no one should go to strip joints or whatever. People are, they do whatever they want. You're free to make your own choice, yeah. But you don't stand there as a political representative espousing family values and all the conservative things that you do. Say one thing and then go and do something completely different, right? He's got a wife and a family. It doesn't align with the messages that he's been saying, right? Yeah. And that's the problem that I see. I don't think it's that big a newsworthy item. Certainly, I think it's a massive beat up.
Why is it front page?
We have far more important things in this world to be worrying about than some guy going to a strip joint, right? And some of the things he said were a bit quite derogatory.
Yeah, I think that one of the reasons it's getting so much airtime is because of our federal election coming up. But
absolutely, right. It's a massisse beat up, right? And it's a great thing to redirect people to, again, a topic that really doesn't matter. It's like, other than the fact that
the two major parties. It's just
that's right. I mean, he's
a real tragic one. He's right. Moving right along to item number 3. Here's a real tragic one. When you go to the amusement parks, and this one out there, ladies and gentlemen, is just food for thought. The next time you want to let your kids ride a ride or something like that. When you go to the parks and they say that if you've got a sore back, a heart condition, or a whole list of things, please don't ride this ride.
Yep.
Right? And if you're under a certain height or under a certain age. Yep. Right? Well, a 10-year-old girl has died, very tragically died, not from anything that the ride did wrong. I have to say that.
Yeah.
Right? The water slide, at a water slide park that she has absolutely been going to for years, but there was one ride. It's an 83-metre long chute, and it takes 7 seconds for you to drop those 83 metres, so it's pretty quick. Right? But you have to be 10 years old to ride it. Yeah. So finally, she was old enough. There was super excitement. She got in there, and they dropped her. She was so excited she had a heart attack. 10 years old.
Holy shit!
10 years old, and she came out
during the drop.
During the drop. She came, by the time she hit the bottom, which was less than 7 seconds, she was unconscious and they were unable to revive her.
Holy shit.
Just tragic, but it goes to show, and I guess my question out of this
was there something wrong with her heart? Did she have a problem with her heart or something?
I don't know. They haven't said yet. But because it's only just happened, but as in the last 24 or 48 hours.
Oh, my Lord.
But it just goes to, I guess where I'm going with it is that we all take these chances in life, and you hop into these slides and everything else to get that thrill. At what stage, though, do your parental responsibilities come to say, no, you're still too little or whatever? And there's no saying that she'd waited until she was 15 that it would have happened. It's just a tragedy. But put it out there.
No rhyme or reason on that one.
Yeah, put it out there so people are aware. These things do happen. And I don't know. It's just one I saw that I thought that hit home. I thought, because I've got a 5-year-old, obviously. And I thought, bloody hell, could you just imagine putting them on a slide like that, those poor parents? It's just absolutely...
And especially if the kid was excited and wanted to do it, right? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. And the parents say she was so excited. She was so excited.
You got to feel for the parents. They're just couldn't imagine going through that.
Oh, mate.
Could not imagine that. What are we doing?
Okay. This is our crypto bit. We're not actually going to do a crypto update on where the price of crypto is, ladies and gentlemen, but what Mr. Stacy Bosell, the man from Queensland, is going to do is he's going to show you via video, and obviously, for those that aren't listening, he's going to talk us through the opening and the setup of the hardware wallet. So, Mr. Bosell, over to you, sir.
All right, so can you see my screen?
I can. I just said we weren't going to update that, but you can.
I know, but it was already open, so it's just...
Good on you.
It's already there. Okay. But, interestingly, since I looked at it this morning, we've jumped up over $100, so Bitcoin's back up.
Very red to me.
So, well, it's the 7-day, over the 7-day price, we're still down 2.29%. No, it's 24 hours, 2.29%. But on the 7-day price, we hit... we did get up over 5.6, so we're still down 5.3 US dollars.
Okay, well, still over 5.3, which is good.
Oh, we're still over 5.3, so it's looking all right. So I'm going to take us through the setup of this little device, and it's called a Keep Key. So can you see that all right?
I can see that.
So in the cryptocurrency world, and we talked a bit about it in the last episode, where we talked to the difference between a software wallet and a hardware wallet. So I have purchased a hardware wallet, and that's the picture of it there. But I will zoom out and I will actually unpack this one, and we'll go through the setup. But before,
I've got a letter opener if you need it.
Oh yeah, good. Yeah, thanks. Just pass that over, mate. I'll just feed it through so I can get it.
Yeah, you're going to die in the arse if it suddenly appears on your desk.
Oh man, I'll be flat out behind me there. But there is some things we need to do before we unpack that. Okay.
Yep. What's that?
So we need to get our system ready. So there's a little bit of software that is needed for when we connect the hardware wallet to our computer.
I was going to say they have to have something.
Yes. So for this particular product, when you go to the support page for KeepKey, there's a button there that says New KeepKey, start here. So we click on that little fella, and we can click on this link to initialize our device. And it says, okay, we're going to need the device, the USB key, which is the cable, which is inside the device. Any computer with Windows, Mac, or Linux will work. And the Chrome web browser is the one they recommend, because the client that we'll install, and I'll just click on that now, is what we call a web extension for the Google Chrome browser. And simply you click on Add to Chrome. It's asking me, can I add the client? I'm going to go Add the app. Okay. And that is now added the KeepKey client, you can see here on my page, is now ready to use. And if I click on that, it's going to open up a little page. Do you see the extra window that's just popped up?
Yes, I can.
And it currently is a blank window that says no KeepKey detected. Can you see that?
Yes.
Excellent. All right.
So once you've got this all set up,
yep,
you can then download your Bitcoin from whatever exchange. You can send it to this device.
And we might even do that. We might even do a bit of that. So I'm just going to stop sharing for a second so that we can see this on a bigger screen. So I'm going to unpack my little KeepKey here, all right? And it's open up.
You got to break the seal, dude.
I got to break the seal.
Letter opener.
I need the letter opener, dude. Send it over. So.
What are you doing? Ladies and gentlemen, I'll just keep talking while Stacy
trying to break the seal.
With a child-proof.
It's childlike.
On the KeepKey. You know why no one can hack it? Because no one can get in the box.
You can't get into it. Man, that silver, little silver. I just broke. That's how strong it is.
For those that can't see it, Stacey's been trying to use a pen because you refused my offer of a letter opener. That's to break into the KeepKey box, and it broke the pen in half. That's how good these things are. The seal is unbreakable.
It is, man. That's impressive. So I'm going to try something a little more serious to break it. There we go. Dear. All right. So here we go. I'm opening the box now. You can see it.
We can.
So there's
You can see it.
There's a little device.
It is a little device, isn't it?
It's not big. It's not big. So
yeah.
I'll hold it up in my hand now. Right?
Yep.
So you can see it in my hand. It's not very big at all. Okay?
No, it's not. It's tiny.
So it comes like that. And inside the box comes a little bit of blurbage, and you'll see there's just a little cable.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll pull that cable out. And so yeah, there's not much to it. It looks it looks pretty simple. So you've got a little USB cable, right? So I'm going to plug that into my laptop.
Stacey's actually going and plugging in a USB cable now, ladies and gentlemen. So
I am indeed. And there's a little slot in the back of it. Not sure if you can see that.
Yeah.
Right, and so the little cable simply connects into that slot, and it's actually got an LED display on the front of it.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm actually going to take off that. There's a bit of protective plastic there, which is all very nice. Now I'll share my screen again because this is where we interact with the app. Right, so you can see there that the device is saying there's actually an update required.
You know, that always annoys the crap out of me. How many times do you buy something, you plug it in, and it says update required, and then if you haven't got a high-speed broadband internet connection, you sit there for the next half hour waiting for the update.
Yes, it's true. Although, it is frustrating. But the flip side to that is knowing that these devices, you know, they run off a firmware or chip inside it. But knowing that can be updated means that any issues can be resolved, any extra functionality and things can be added after you buy it, right? So,
yes.
So that's a good thing. So
absolutely, but there's also a flip side to that, and I'm just throwing this out there, right? So maybe right, maybe wrong. Update required means that they're logging into your device somewhere, right? Now,
maybe
somehow they're going in and they're doing something to that device.
Well, all it is a firmware file that replaces firmware. Well,
Yeah, exactly. You don't exactly. You are placing a certain amount of trust in the company.
Do you know the reason for that?
They also, well, but they some places will actually put out the code to the firmware so that it can actually be reviewed. And I think where companies do that, then obviously there's a big amount of trust there because it's transparent around what the
absolutely. But where was it made? Where was the device made?
This one, I'm sure it was a US-based company, but as for where it was manufactured, not probably China.
Most like China. And therein lieth my point. Do you know why? You know the DJI...
China, because China can't be trusted.
You know the DJI Phantom drone?
Oh, yes, and we talked about that. Yeah.
It updates all the time. Every time we fly it, it updates. But what it does to do that update, it sends all GPS coordinate information back to China first.
Yeah, that's insane, isn't it?
Right? And no one knew that. No one knew that until someone stumbled upon it. That's China collecting data. So therefore, fantastic that they put the code out so it can be clarified first, because I wouldn't trust it otherwise. Not when you're storing all that information you're plugging in online.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. And it's not just those drones. I'm just done a quick check to see how it is manufactured. It's not just drones, but
Shapeshift.
Well, it looks like Shapeshift have acquired it or doing some partnership with Shapeshift because it used to be its own. Oh, there we go, Shapeshift acquisition. So there you go. So because now when you put in key into the address, it takes you to the shapeshift.io site.
There you go.
So that's really interesting. The other issue is around some of the Chinese manufacturers of technology. And you may have heard all the issues around Huawei, or however way you pronounce them, and the fact that a number of countries around the world, Australia included, have prevented Huawei from contributing to the 5G infrastructure. And the key reason for that is they have found backdoors into their products, their networking products, that enable them to get access to sensitive data that runs through them. Right? Vodafone just recently, and in fact I kept the article, Vodafone recently came out that even as back in 2011, 2012, when they were engaging the Chinese company to provide routers, they discovered the backdoor in it. They asked them to fix it. They said, yeah, we'll fix it. And then they discovered they hadn't fixed it, even after they said they had fixed it. Yeah. And then when they pushed more, they basically didn't want to do it. They didn't want to fix their backdoor. Crazy. So it's anything with the Chinese manufacturing you have to be very careful with, because you don't know exactly what's happening in the background. Right?
That's right.
So
exactly
back to the
back on to this, because we're beginning to extend into an extended time.
Yes, we are. So I'm holding down the button.
Yep.
It's
it says unplug your key, then hold down the button while plugging it back in.
So we unplug, right, and we hold down the button, and we plug it back in. All right, so it's going to update the key with our latest software. It says during the bootloader update, please follow the instructions shown on the device. Yep. Do not unplug the device unless instructed to do so. Right. So you notice on the as I hold that up, right, it's got a little message actually on the device.
What's it say? We can't see in the little screen.
Okay, so it actually just says firmware update mode. So it tells us that it's actually in the update mode in the window. In the client, it says update bootloader. So I'll simply click on that. And then it says, you can see it on the screen where it actually says verify backup, and it shows a picture of the
Yep, it says to confirm it on your recovery, like
Yes.
on the device.
So if I hold that up to the camera,
Yep.
right, you can see that it's asking me to verify the backup, right? So it's basically saying that in case you have a recovery. So I haven't done anything with this. I haven't set it up. I haven't done anything with it. But if I had, right, it's basically saying to make sure you have your backup aside so that when the firmware update completes, you can restore the device back to its original state.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm not going to worry about that here because I haven't done anything with it. It's brand new, right? So now it's telling me it's preparing to do its update. So it's doing its little thing. And one of the reasons I do like this device is that I get confirmation. Yeah, it's done. So it tells me on the device here as well. So you can see that. So I like the fact that I have confirmation between what the client is saying on my computer to what the device is actually telling me. All right. So now I can disconnect that device. I'll turn that off. And then I shall plug it back in. All right. And it's now telling me that it's updating. It's now updating the bootloader.
Yep.
Okay. And it's now successfully updated. And again, it's telling me here that it's completed. It's completed the update. Okay. So it's really good. It steps me all the way along.
What's the worst, Stace?
Now, actually, that's a good point. Right now, if I go back to the website, they've got a deal at the moment. So let's go back to KeepKey. Now, they've got a deal at the moment where I believe you can get a big discount.
Yep.
Where is it? I'm sure I saw that coming soon. No, that's features. I just click the buy now button. So it's still on special. So $79 US.
That's not bad.
No, it's actually that's really quite cheap. Right?
Yeah.
So just disconnecting and reconnecting that. So look, and when you consider, and they advertise it as be your own bank, and effectively it is, right? So instead of having putting your money into a bank where you've got to trust a bank and where they then control your money, right? They could freeze your funds at any time. You're simply, and this is the thing you need to understand with the banking system. Just because you put money in a bank doesn't mean it's yours, right?
That's right.
You're now a creditor to the bank, right? That is just it means they owe you money.
Do all the Australian crypto exchanges allow you to download to something like KeepKey?
It's just an address. It's just an address. So
yep. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So plugging it back in now. All right. So now you can see on the client here it says your KeepKey needs to be initialized. So before you can use the KeepKey, it must be initialized, and during the step, your private keys are generated. So we'll initialize this. Now, if it asks for a label, right, I'm just going to call this one Stacy's test wallet. And I'll wipe this out later. This is just as a demo. And then it asks for a PIN. Now, notice on the client, it's just got 9 buttons with dots in it, right?
Yep.
But if you have a look on the device, can you see the numbers?
Yep. Yeah.
So
it's scrambled. Yeah.
So what it does is it creates that 9-grid pattern, and it scribbles the numbers.
Random, yeah. Yeah,
so
ING Bank doesn't think they're online login.
Yeah, so it's basically just to prevent hacking or bots from entering or tracking your PIN, right? Yeah. So by using those numbers that are there, and I'm just going to go.
Yeah, don't say what they are.
I'm going to wipe it out anyway.
Yeah.
And choose pin. And then it asks me to do it again. Okay, so now it says on your keep key, you confirm you have written down your recovery sentence. Okay, so what it does is that it gives you a recovery sentence. Now, I will show you on the device.
Yeah.
Right, so it's got a bunch of words. Okay, so that's a 12, got 12 words, and I'm just going to quickly write these down because I need to enter the
Take a photo of them,
when it asks. Sorry?
Take a photo of them.
Well, you have to remember that whatever you do with these, right, these literally are the keys to your money, right?
Yep.
So you don't want to put them anywhere that could be accessible.
Yeah. No, I understand that in the real thing, but I was just saying for the scenario, the test scenario we're doing, it'd be quicker for you to just take a photo.
That's right. Yeah. So anyway, I've got that. And so now it's asking me to hold the button. So I'm just going to hold the button, and I get a little tick on the device once I've done that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so now it tells me that as a Keep Key owner, your experience is essential to us, but the Keep Key client has gotten pretty outdated. Shapeshift has acquired Keep Key, as we've just talked about, and they're preparing its next evolution. So this is exciting. So what they're doing now is instead of this client that we've had to install and use, Shapeshift is building a new platform.
Yeah.
So they've been building a web-based crypto management platform. The platform will allow users to send, receive, trade, buy, track, manage, and interact with all our crypto assets in an easy, non-custodial, hardware-secured way. So what that means is that we can use the money, our cryptos that are stored on our hardware wallet, to actually trade and send money directly from the hardware wallet without having, or trade without having to actually send the money to an exchange first. Now, that's a big difference. Right now, if we want to trade cryptocurrencies, we have to send the money to the exchange where they have custodial rights or power over our money to enable us to trade. And then when we want it, we have to withdraw the money back out of the exchange. Right? So this is a fundamental change in being able to maintain custodial rights over our money on our device, yet still be able to trade. Right?
Yep.
So this is a pretty exciting development, shall we say? Right?
Yep.
So I'll just close that window now. Now, as you can see, and it's telling us the new Keep Key client is coming, and you can reserve access, and I have actually done that. But it creates an initial main account, which is for Bitcoin, with a little arrow here, so I can click onto that, and that will then take me into the transactional level use of the Bitcoin account. So here I can look at transactions. Obviously, there's nothing there at the moment because I haven't done any. But if I want to receive Bitcoin, I can click this button here, and that's where it gives me a code, my address, for public address, to send money to it. Now, that's just Bitcoin. You might say, well, what if I want to use others, right? If I want to do other things. So you can obviously add more things to the Bitcoin address. Now, down the bottom, there is, in the bottom right corner of this client window, it says Add Account.
Yep.
And if I click on that, it then says, okay, well, what do you want to add to it? Now, here, you can see in the top part where it has Bitcoin and a little drop-down arrow.
Yeah.
We can click on that drop-down arrow, and these are the core cryptocurrency platforms that you can actually store. Now, it's got Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Dogecoin. I don't know why that's there.
What if you hold some other different coin?
Ethereum, Bitcoin Gold. And under Ethereum, you can hold a whole bunch of other ERC20 compatible tokens, right?
Yeah.
So Ethereum is not just Ethereum. It is Ethereum plus a whole bunch of other Ethereum-based coins, right? So, for example, Litecoin. If I want to add a Litecoin account, I can select Litecoin from the list. I can give it an account name. I'm just going to call it Litecoin Test, and I can click Add Account. It now adds that account. It goes off into the Litecoin environment. It creates a Litecoin address for me, and it now has created that Litecoin Test account.
Right, okay, so now you got Litecoin. What coins underneath Litecoin can you add?
Litecoin only has Litecoin, right? So that's, but if I went back to, let's create an account for Ethereum.
Yep.
If we select Ethereum, and I'll go ETH Test as an account name, I can add that account, right? And that will now add the core Ethereum wallet to my device. And it's now been created. So now I've got an ETH Test account.
Yeah.
If I now go across into the ETH account, you'll now see I've got a whole bunch of other ERC20 tokens. And ERC20 is simply the protocol of the Ethereum coin. Okay.
Yeah.
And I can also then add any of these coins that you see here into my wallet as well.
Okay.
Right? So while the core coins, there's only about half a dozen of them. Under Ethereum, as you can see, there's about 20 odd other coins there as well.
How do you get a wallet that can hold all your different coins?
It doesn't exist.
So if you've got some
it currently does not exist. There are a number of wallets now that are multi-coin wallets.
Yeah.
That will hold a whole bunch of different types, but there's no wallet that currently exists that holds all types of cryptocurrencies. And that's purely because it is dependent on the protocol and the design of the coin that is being created.
Okay? So how do you find a wallet? Let's say you've got, I don't know, pick one of my old favourites, Redcoin. Let's say you've got 50,000 Redcoin, so you're worth at least $1.50. Huh?
Yeah.
But, and you want to pull them into your own hardware wallet. How do you find a wallet that would allow you to store Redcoin?
Well, there's a couple of ways. And the quickest way is Redcoin wallet. So you just do a Google search to go, and so you go to the actual website. So we'll go to the website for Redcoin, and they should then tell us here. So there's actually a Chrome extension for Redcoin, but there should be, generally speaking, somewhere on their site, mobile staking. Okay, you can do mobile staking with Redcoin. There you go. Download wallet. There we go. So step one, download wallet. And download now. Right. So generally, you go to the project website, and they should be able to either allow you to download their coin directly, or some of them will also show other compatible wallets that you can use for that project or that coin.
Okay. Yep.
All right. So that would be that's how you would find that, right? Now, in terms of putting money onto your hardware wallet, you'd simply go to your coin that you want. You would go to receive Litecoin, Bitcoin, whatever coin it is you're talking about, right? And then you get both the QR code as well as the address. Now it's this 20-digit address here that you can see underneath the code. Now that is your public address. So that is the address you would give to somebody else, or you would enter in the exchange or the other wallet you're sending from, in order to send the coins to this wallet. Okay, so it's the public address. Think of it as the address of your house. If you want mail sent to your house, you have to give somebody your address.
That's the one way you lose that address, or you lose your wallet and you don't have a copy of that address, you've lost your money.
No. No, this is your public address. No, this is your public address. So this address would actually sit on the public blockchain.
Yep.
Visible for everybody. Okay? It is that, remember those 12 words that I wrote down before? They are your private keys. You lose those, then you lose your money. Right? That's the difference. So you got your private keys and your public keys.
Yeah.
Right? So your public key or your public address is how you send money to your wallet. And that's visible to you. You want that visible to everybody. And that will reside on the blockchain to say this is where the money belongs.
Okay, yep.
There's a little button.
That is the address that if you had it in an exchange or in a software wallet, that if you lost it, that you'd be cactus. Am I right?
No. You can't lose a public address, right? Because it always sits it always exists in the blockchain.
Okay.
Right. It doesn't. It's always going to be there. Always there. Right? If you forget it, right, it just means you can't send money to it, or it's harder to find. But it's the private keys that's really important.
Okay.
Right? Because with your private keys, even if you don't, you're never going to remember your public address, right? It's too big, too long, right? But with your private keys, it'll restore that account with that address.
Yeah.
Right? Well, in saying that, unless it's a privacy-based coin, in which case it will randomly generate a new address every time you use it. Yeah. But we won't get into that. That's a whole other ballgame. Okay. But it does have a button here as well where you can copy that address, right? Yep. So you press that and it'll actually copy that address to your clipboard. So you can then go and paste that into to something else.
Yep.
And then you can send that money to that address.
Yep.
Now, is that something we want to do? Do you want to actually, will I send some money across and show how that works?
No.
We'll leave that out. Cool. So, that's really about it, right? And if you had money in it, you would send money in much the same way. You would go, you can see at the moment, the send/trade Bitcoin button is grayed out because I've got no funds in there at the moment. But it'd be a similar process where you would hit that button to send and you would enter in the public address that you're going to send that money to, and then you would send that off.
Cool.
Right?
Thank you, Mr. Bosel.
And that's literally all there is to it, right?
Thank you, Mr. Bosel. That was very informative and very well done. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's a hardware wallet explained by Mr. Stacy Bosel of Queensland. And we have to add in the old Queensland bit because someone's got to mention Queensland somewhere, sometime, somehow.
Oh, that's a good idea because it's such a wonderful.
Because Stacy said to me earlier, "Hey, gorgeous, if you're listening to this podcast," Stacy said to me earlier, "Why don't we move to Queensland? Maybe, what do you reckon?" I'm in for it. You in for it? Stacy told me to say that.
You realise the order in which you said that, Stacy said, "Hey, gorgeous," and I'm going, I didn't say "Hey, gorgeous" to you.
He probably did, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm actually, all right, how about we make this two separate sentences? Stacy said, full stop. I should say to my wife, "Hey, gorgeous, let's move to Queensland." So there you go.
That sounds better.
So, hey, gorgeous, let's move to Queensland. All right, Mr. Mason, what else have we got?
Well, given that's gone about 55 minutes, it's probably enough for this episode.
I think it is, but it's actually going to end up, we're going to do a little bit of editing, which I'll take up with you offline. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much for episode 12 of Two Crazy Guys, One Crazy World. We are so glad that you've stayed with us for this long because 12 will become 24 and 24 will become 36 and 36 will become 48. And before you know it, we'll be at 96 and we'll only be 4 short of our centenary. And it will happen because we're not going anywhere. This has been Two Crazy Guys, One Crazy World. Chris and Stacy saying thanks for joining us and we'll see you. Same bat time, same bat channel, different place next time.
Thanks, guys, and stay happy.
See ya. Bye.